When did you get started playing guitar?
I started learning when I was 6 years old back in former Yugoslavia in my home country. At that time, it was called Yugoslavia. Then it broke apart during the war in uh, over there in the 90s. Started in my own town of Tuzla with a elementary school, very good teacher that I had there, and still a good friend. Then I went to Sarajevo to a high school, later on to Zagreb for a year, and that's when the war broke out. And due to those circumstances, I went to Netherlands because I had some family. Ended up studying at a conservatory there, and afterwards came to US.
When did you get started playing with your duo, the Cavatina Duo?
Well, our first kind of concert was kind of a little bit of isolated concert was in 1993, but I would say as my wife points out more seriously, I would say around 96 we won a competition in at a conservatory in Netherlands, chamber music competition, and then we started thinking more seriously, and that's when we engaged more in practicing and rehearsing together. In 98 we released the first CD for Opera Tres, a Spanish label, and that was kind of the starting point for a more professional career.
How much of your time do you spend playing with the duo versus solo at this point?
At this point, I would say in last 3 years, I would say about two-thirds of my engagements are with the duo. So it's leaning more towards the duo. It has been more prevalently solo. Then more things developed with the duo, not intentionally on my side or on our side, just how the things developed, especially since we have a manager in California that opened up more possibilities in the chamber music world.
Mm-hmm. How does playing with a flutist affect your solo playing, interpretation-wise, or anything else?
Quite a bit, actually. One of the main influences in my playing or in my thinking as a musician, where I got from my wife's teacher back in Netherlands in the kind of, I say, mid 90s, when I was going to her lessons to observe, and I liked the way this teacher of her was teaching her, and I asked him to coach me, and he said, I don't know anything about guitar. I cannot teach you technically anything. He said, I just want music. So it was a very, very good experience because he would think about the pieces in an orchestral way, since he was a principal flutist of the Rotterdam Philharmonic, very good orchestra. So whenever I would play something, he would really put a layers in the voices and give them, assign them sections of the instruments, whether strings, winds, etc. And the piece suddenly, from just being for guitar, would open up in orchestral way, and he would ask me to do things, saying, I do not know whether you can do this or not, but I would like it to be like that. So it was up to me to figure out if it is possible or not. So that was a really interesting thing that shaped my, I think, musical thinking. And then, of course, collaborating with just working with a duo with my wife, with a wind player, and again, that she had that kind of influence from him as well, is just making you think in perhaps more, again, orchestral or musical way, and I think for sure it has an influence also for phrasing. Hearing her play the things. So what it makes me is when I play something solo, I would sing the lines and realize or imagine or how do you say? I would even like project ahead of, envision the lines or the musical phrases, how they have to be, and sing them, and then work the technique towards it to make the music happen, rather than make it, rather than music becoming a result of what physically fingers can do. It is always more about the idea. So playing with Eugenio, again, I have to stress out that hearing her play just makes me sing quite a bit when I work on my solo pieces. The other thing that has an influence is, I would say, it's on perhaps a dynamic aspect, because playing with her I had to always work towards playing louder and increasing the dynamic range. And obviously I think that that will carry on onto solo playing as well, trying to get just as much dynamic as possible from the instrument.
Nice. If you could collaborate with any other musicians, who would, or any other musicians or musician, who would it be?
I do not have anybody in mind in terms of a certain person that I would be interested in collaborating. Mainly, it is one of the things that lately that we started doing is to perform more with the orchestra and to develop that area as well, and that market. Having had a concerto written for our duo by Alan Thomas. Now that's interesting experience, and it's interesting to work with the conductors. On the other hand, next season we also have a concert scheduled with the string quartet, one of the string quartets that's on the roster of our manager there, Mexican string quartet called La Catrina Quartet. And that's something that we are also looking forward to because of the sound, because of this string sound and combination of flute, which is, woodwind, and then the guitar, which has more of a percussive sound. So the program that we will do would be very varied. They will play as a quartet a piece. Eugenia will play a Mozart quartet with them. I will play Boccherini with them. Then Eugenia and I will play a duo piece, and then all six together will play what I mentioned just earlier, this piece by Alan Thomas, the last movement of the concerto that he will arrange for the string quartet and for us. So this is something that I'm looking forward to, just to explore more musical possibilities in terms of collaborating with the different instruments. And I think that string quartet is something that both of us are very interested in exploring and seeing how the duo and what we are doing would fit into that.